Welcome to Basic Brewing Radio for Thursday, February 11th, 2016. I'm James Spencer. Here at Basic Brewing Radio, we're all about home brewing. This week, we continue our introductions to Northwest Arkansas breweries by visiting Bentonville Brewing Company. Katie and Beau Boykin talk about how they transition from home brewers to pro brewers and share some tips on brewing a delicious coffee IPA, among some other beers that they have on tap. If you're new to home brewing or would like to get into the hobby for the first time, check out our website, basicbrewing.com, where you can find archives of our audio and video podcasts and our DVDs to walk you through basic and more advanced brewing techniques. If you buy any of our DVD combos, you get a free Basic Brewing bottle opener. And don't forget to get a fresh copy of our Brewer's Logbook for 2016. You can use it to log and track up to 50 batches of beer. You can find me on Twitter. I'm Basic Brewing, all one word. We also have a Basic Brewing Radio and Basic Brewing Video page on Facebook at facebook.com/basicbrewing. Thanks again to everybody clicking on the Amazon.com associate link on our basicbrewing.com site. You know how that works. Whenever you think of shopping on Amazon, go to our website first, basicbrewing.com. Click on our Amazon ad on the right-hand side of the page. It won't cost you any extra, and you'll be helping us to bring you the show. We greatly appreciate your support. We also have associate links for Brew Your Own magazine and the American Homebrewers Association on our site as well. You can find our Basic Brewing iPhone app on iTunes, our Android app on Amazon.com. We have a Windows Phone app. We're on the BlackBerry Podcast Directory. We're on the Stitcher app as well. We are everywhere. If you want to put a tip in our tip jar, some coinage in our virtual guitar case, you can go to basicbrewing.com/support, and thanks to everybody who's done so already. And if you can contribute via the support link, I'll send you an email with links to bonus videos from the past 3 years. Lots of good stuff out on that. I usually don't do this, but we had a celebrity passing that I want to take note of. Every now and then you hear Steve and me say, don't forget to write if you get work, and don't forget to hang by your thumbs. Well, that was a sign-off of the classic and innovative comedy team Bob and Ray, and Bob Elliott and Ray Goulding. And Bob Elliott of Bob and Ray passed away the other day. He was the father, by the way, of Chris Elliott, who you might remember as the guy under the seats and other characters on Late Night with David Letterman. And he had his own show that his dad was on as well. If you don't know any Bob and Ray routines, go on the YouTubes and look them up. They are hilarious and groundbreaking, especially for way back then. Just odd and funny stuff. And it explains a lot about Steve and my humor. So rest in peace, Bob, and don't forget to hang by your thumbs. Let's move on to the mailbag. Phil in Cumming, Georgia, was brewing a barley wine the other day and writes, my plan went slightly awry, though. I somehow got 12 gallons, or 45 liters of wort, and it only boiled down to 8 gallons, 30 liters. I attribute that to a lower intensity boil on the stovetop. So instead of having 6.5 gallons at an original gravity of 1100, I had 8 gallons at 1092. Still not bad. My efficiency was actually better than I'd hoped for, but I wanted triple-digit OG. Dang it. Phil said, I stored a gallon of my extra wort that wouldn't fit into the fermenter in a glass gallon jug and put it in the fridge, not sure what I'd do. The next morning I had an epiphany. I remembered another Basic Brewing Radio episode where you and Chris, I think, talked about feeding big beers. I poured off the clear wort from my gallon jug, leaving the settled tube behind. It measured 2 quarts or 1.9 liters. I simply boiled it down to a quarter of its original volume, a pint now, cooled it, and added it to the fermenter. I basically made my own liquid malt extract. Phil says, according to my math, I should have picked up 6 gravity points and come pretty close to my goal at 1098 original gravity. I thought this was a decent technique I'll use again if I ever end up volume limited by my fermenter in the future. Very cool, Phil. It's an interesting idea, and it's a nice save there. And nice improvisation. I appreciate your sharing the tip, and let us know how that beer turns out. I posted an episode of Basic Brewing Video this week. This week's episode, Steve makes homemade vermouth out of a wine kit. It was fun to watch him do it and fun to taste the results. Steve got a whole bunch of botanicals from the local natural food store and steeped it all in the wine, fortifying it with brandy. And to top it all off, he made some tasty martinis with the fresh vermouth. Very nice stuff. Coincidentally, Steve got that wine kit from our sponsors, Desiree and Dave of High Gravity in Tulsa. How's that for a segue? And last night, I tasted my Vienna Ale that I brewed with a bit of homemade crystal malt on my electric brew system, my electric brew in a bag system that I got from High Gravity. Now, I've got the 240-volt 10-gallon system with a pump, and you can see Steve and me brew with that for the first time on youtube.com/highdgravitybrew. But they also have a 120-volt 5-gallon system with a pump and a 120-volt 5-gallon system with no pump in the true tradition of brew in a bag. You can check those out on highdgravitybrew.com. You can also check out the Build Your Own Electric Brewery feature on highdgravitybrew.com, where you can really do some customization of the system that you want. And if you have most of the gear already, you can even buy one of the High Gravity controllers on its own. And there are several different versions of that. So lots of ways to go, especially if you're like me and are not technically inclined on the electricity side of things. Take a look at highdgravitybrew.com. And as usual, for ingredients and many other products, High Gravity offers $7.99 flat rate shipping. That's highdgravitybrew.com. And thank them for their support, their continuing support of Basic Brewing Radio. Okay, let's head up to Bentonville, Arkansas to chat with Katie and Beau Boykin of Bentonville Brewing Company. All right, we're here at Bentonville Brewing Company with Katie Boykin.
Yep, that's me.
And Beau Boykin.
That's right.
Welcome to Basic Brewing Radio. We're here at the second brewery that I have visited in Bentonville, the third in Benton County, and I went to college years ago here in Northwest Arkansas, and to have the thought of having an easily accessible beer in Benton County was beyond the imagination back then, but now we're all modern up here in Northwest Arkansas, and so welcome, you guys.
Thanks, we're super glad to be here.
Give us some background on who you guys are and how you came to be here.
Well, we were living out in Fort Collins, Colorado for the past 9 years, or that was me for the past 9 years, and we have a good buddy who lives in this area who is wanting to start a brewery because he was a home brewer, and up until a couple of years ago, as you alluded to, it was a dry county, not a good place for beer drinkers, unfortunately. So he was aiming to fix that, and we were kind of recruited. So we moved out here to do that. So
y'all from Colorado to begin with, or where are you from?
I'm actually from Rockford, Illinois, so I'm kind of a vagabond. And
I'm from Leland, Mississippi.
Oh, well.
And so we met out there. I've been living in Colorado for 12 years, and met Katie at the bar. Nice.
So Fort Collins, Colorado, not much beer around there.
Oh, no, none.
So it must have been quite a draw to pull you guys out of that situation to make a foothold for good beer here.
It was interesting. When we came out here to kind of scan the area, we were taken on a brewery tour, and we got it all done in one day, which was really strange.
You mean of the whole area?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We had to drive, out to Saddlewalk, down to Fayetteville, up back here to Ozark. There's a lot of driving. Not by me.
No,
I was drinking. I was doing the testing.
Well, it's a lot harder nowadays to do that. So.
Yes. We're excited about all the new up-and-comers and the cidery that opened, and now New Province is getting ready to open their doors if they have not already. I saw they got their ABC approval just right before the weekend. So.
And they're also in Benton County, right?
Yes.
It's going to be a nice facility. It's looking really good.
So what's your background in brewing?
I spent a lot of time drinking at the craft beer places there in Colorado, and was pretty much going broke doing that. So I figured I might as well try to, save some money and make my own. and so got into it that way. And, you know, with all the resources there in Colorado, it made it fairly easy to get into as well. And one thing led to another, and yeah, so just home brewer, and then this kind of just happened all of a sudden.
So you went straight from home brewer to here.
Yeah, this is my first commercial experience.
Was it a big adjustment?
It was. I mean, it took us a while to get things up and running, so I had plenty of time to sit there and go through all the scenarios in my head and do, you know, a lot of homework, I guess. And so by the time we were up and running, I'd gone through it in my head so many times I felt like I'd done it before, but there was still lots of problem solving and figuring out and curveballs thrown at me. But it's been a pretty smooth transition.
And y'all don't own the place, right?
We're actually part owners.
Okay.
We're principals in it. Our friend, I mentioned we had a friend who lived in the area who kind of got us here. He's the founder. This was his idea, and he has a day job, and he hired us on, and we had some capital to invest also. So it just worked out really well, because I don't want to work for the man. I want to work for myself. And so he is just waiting for us to get it up to the point where he can quit his day job as a loan officer and then do all the fun stuff, you know, go to JBF and take it all away.
So that's cool that you've got some skin in the game. You're not just employees. And so not that you wouldn't care about it if you were just employees, but the fact that you do have an investment in there has got to make you pay a bit more attention to everything going around.
Oh, absolutely.
We definitely have some sweat equity involved in it.
We're on call all the time, it seems like, but because we're not employees, it's okay for us. You know, such and such bar calls and they need something, tap handle broke, we're in the car on the way over there. It's not even something we really think about very much, but until we get there and they're like, oh, thank you, no one else does that. Like, oh, I could have waited till tomorrow? Dang. Well, you're welcome.
Something seems to always break at the worst time.
Yeah.
No, of course. Well, peak hours are in the off hours for beer drinkers.
Right.
So this is a nice looking facility. I haven't been in the back yet. Y'all are brewing back there as we speak. Mm-hmm. But talk about the brewing setup and just the facility itself.
Well, we have a 7-barrel brew system, and it's direct fire and it's all manual. So that's kind of been nice, especially on, you know, being new to it. It's all hands on, so it's helped with the learning, I guess. And then right now we have 2 7-barrel fermenters and 2 14-barrel fermenters, which we're planning on putting in 3 or 4 20-barrel fermenters here real soon. But it's nice and small, and I like it. It's, I'm really enjoying the direct fire too. So.
You don't have to worry about a boiler.
Right. That was the main reason. The cost with setting up a boiler, but. Yeah.
So Katie, tell me about the facility where we are, the tasting room.
Well, we're actually really lucky to have such a nice tasting room because our original business plan was more of, start up, focus on production and quality, and get into those restaurants and build a loyal following, and then put that money back in to make the tap room what it is. Well, during the initial setup process, we ended up getting a couple other investors who really wanted to take on this side of things, and so we just got to come right out of the gate with a cool place to hang out, which has really given us a lot of leeway to be a little more creative back there, because this side helps us fund what we do back there while we're still building our presence. But it's really fun to hang out here. I didn't realize what cool neighbors we had, but they're all in here most of the time. We had a potluck for Super Bowl last night, so we had just dips and all sorts of food, and It's been a good time, and live music, all sorts of stuff. So, and with Walmart being here and people coming in and out of town for that, we've met people from Belgium who's come in and tried our beers, Ireland, Brazil, South Africa. So it's been a really cool way to meet the other community members, because I'm new to the community sort of myself. So, I mean, what better way to move to a new area and meet new friends than to work at a brewery and have a few beers. So.
And you mentioned your neighbors. Who are your neighbors?
Well, we've got the fish market down the road. They actually were building out their facility and restaurant, and they sell fish through a market side. But we were doing our build-outs at the same time, so we're pretty close with them. Right next door, we have Airship Coffee Roasters, and the owner, Mark Bray, has been really great to us since we've been here, and he also helped Beau work on one of our beers. So we made a coffee IPA. We named it after him. It's Airship IPA. And since August, Beau and Mark were sitting and tasting coffee, tasting beans, tasting hops, trying different recipes. And that was really funny, too, to see a couple of guys a little buzzed on coffee, or really buzzed on coffee, a little buzzed on beer, trying to get their work done. But we ended up with a really smooth IPA that's not heavy on the coffee. It's not what you normally think about when you think of that kind of a thing. So collaborations abound. I mean, Bike Rock's been great to us, too. They're not quite as close, and we don't have many other businesses that are close to us.
Well, we got a lot of vendors right here, and a few of them have kegerators in their office. So
That's true.
And for those who aren't familiar with the Walmart universe, vendors means anything from people selling to Walmart, people doing marketing in association with Walmart, and you've got a third tier of people who do business with the people who do business with Walmart. So there's Walmart really is a big force in this area, and a positive force for this area. A lot of people unfortunately don't associate positive things nowadays with Walmart, but there's two sides to every story, and Northwest Arkansas is definitely a positive side to the Walmart story. You mentioned the coffee IPA. Is there enough in the tap to have a sample of the? And Beau, tell me about that beer.
Well, it's we use geisha coffee beans, which is in the coffee world, it's the good stuff. It's pretty hard to get your hands on. Mark, goes down to can't remember where it is.
Guatemala, mostly South Africa or South America. I'm sorry, but it can also be found in Ethiopia. I think there's two places you can get this coffee bean. And
it's not much of it around, and he goes and gets it directly from the farmer, who's a good buddy of his. And this stuff sells for straight from the farmer for about $10 a pound green, so it's expensive coffee. So he took that and lightly roasted it, which gave it kind of a this tropical passion fruit type flavors from the coffee, and the coffee itself is really sweet. And we paired it with Simcoe for the most part, and made just made a really light colored IPA, because everybody thinks coffee dark beer. So I was like, all right, I'm going to make this thing really light just to throw people off. And it really worked out. It's pretty high alcohol. It's 8.1%, but it's pretty smooth for that, and it's unique.
Yeah, it's delicious. It is lighter colored than I expected. And you're right. You don't get the typical coffee flavored coffee flavors in it. It's more of the fruitiness, I guess, of the hops and the coffee kind of blend together. And yeah, I would not have guessed that was 8%. That's delicious. Very clean, and crisp, and deceptively easy drinker.
Yeah, it's been described as dangerous by more than one people.
Yeah, I could see that. So talk about, we've talked about using coffee in beers several times on the show, but talk about your approach.
Well, we wanted to control the extraction, so we used a cold brewed toddy. This is more, Mark's expertise in the coffee world. He informed me that a cold brew is more stable, so I figured, that would be great in a beer. And also it cuts down on the bitterness that coffee can attribute, especially if you're throwing actual beans into the coffee. So we went with the cold brew toddy and put that in secondary, and it's worked out.
Yeah, again, it's very nice. It's you get a little tiny bit of the dark flavor from the coffee, but it's more of a specialty grain kind of a darkness to me. It's not like an sort of bitter, acrid, more coffee flavor. So well done.
Thank you.
Very good. I've at Fossil Cove had a coffee IPA as well a while back, and it had more of the traditional coffee flavors in it, which was also good.
Yeah, it's very good. It's kind of the other end of the coffee IPA spectrum. They're definitely coffee dominated the flavor there.
So talk about the rest of your beer styles. How did you? What have you got on tap? How did you make those choices? And what's your kind of philosophy on what y'all are wanting to put forth?
Well, we're still brand new, so we wanted to kind of get the core beers down and really just work hard on those and develop them until we're satisfied with them, and which I just recently have kind of felt that are close to that point. So and now we're starting to mix it up a little bit and go out on a limb with some things, and I'm hoping to get weirder and weirder on that aspect.
Yeah, just to extrapolate on that, I mean, I love, I think you do too, going to places and trying that wacky, orange sour craziness, which it's so fun and it keeps you coming back for something new. But for me, I also want a beer that I know I can get every single time and I can just drink it, and I can really just have more than one glass, because it's not too anything. It's just really good and solid beer, and I think we've got several of those, and I kind of rotate through. But I think one of our strongest beers is our Naked Porter, which is a super drinkable porter. You can drink it really cold as it comes out of our taps because we have a glycol wrap system, but it tastes even better if you let it sit for just a couple minutes and let it just warm up a little bit. It really blossoms out some of the flavors that are in the grains that we use, the roasts. But most of our beers, we've got people who will come in and they can have a few. There's not many who will go one of everything just to try what's new. So we have in the past on some special, we try to have a few rotating one-offs or fun things that we've done. We did like a Oktoberfest ale style, so it wasn't a true Oktoberfest, but trying to play around with that flavor profile. And we've also done a collaboration with Apple Blossom where we did a Saison. But I'm really excited about some of the fun ideas Beau and Rocky have been coming up with in the back. They're getting weird. Yeah, they're getting, but it'll be good.
Could I try the porter?
Yeah, absolutely.
So talk about the porter, Beau.
Well, it's Naked Porter because there's so many porters out there that are peanut butter or vanilla or this and that, which I love all that. That's great, but I just haven't been seeing many just straightforward porters. Therefore, we called it Naked because it's not all dressed up.
And you're from Mississippi, so it's spelled Nekkid, and not on the menu, but as you speak it.
Yeah, that's probably how I wrote it, but somehow They
I
didn't
wanted to call
translate
it
right.
Buck Naked Porter, but that got nixed. We'll see.
Somebody's probably already got that out there.
Yeah, a lot of our names get nixed.
You're the censor of the group.
I wouldn't say that I am necessarily. I'm not as used to the I guess what's appropriate in this area neck of the woods. So some of my ideas get shot down as well, but someday maybe we'll make a coffee book table of all of our reject ideas. It'll be explicit a little.
Well, this may not be naughty, but it's delicious. It's very roasty or not very roasty. It's roasty and chocolatey, and almost crisp. It's not too heavy. It's delicious. It's got kind of a reddish hue to it, but dark. It's kind of hard to see through, but
It's definitely the darker side of a porter.
So can you talk about the grain bill and the recipe?
Sure. Yeah, I did slip a little bit of roasted barley in there, but it's it's pretty simple. I put a little honey malt in there, and that kind of I think went well. And then 2-row, and I'm kind of going blank.
What yeast did you use?
It's just SO5.
So just the American ale yeast, and it turned out very well, nice and clean.
Did low fermentation temp on it, and just let it do its thing. So.
Do you just stick to the USO5, or do you have a family of yeast that you use?
No, we mix it up a lot, and a lot of our beers, what we started using is not what we're using now. I think yeast is definitely a major flavor component to beers, and we've White Labs, we use a number of their different yeasts as well, and so we're still playing with that part of things.
And I imagine you harvest from one batch to another, or have you got that regime implemented?
We do. We harvest and repitch the yeast, and not as many times as we would like, but maybe one day I'll get a little lab in there or something and be able to get a little better at that. But
I guess that's one area where, coming from being a home brewer to being a professional brewer, you kind of had to step up your game a bit.
Mm-hmm. Which I've luckily I've come from a biology background, so that kind of helped with that issue. So
yeah, no kidding. It's helpful to know the bugs.
But even more helpful would be some better equipment. So.
Well, judging from the beers that I had, and I had another one of your beers. I think that was at the Pale Ale at there was a blowout at Jack McAuliffe's house a while back that we met each other at the first time, and that beer was good as well. That's the one where I brought the 12% beer. So.
That was among some of the offerings at that party. It was really hard to be the designated driver that day.
Yeah, and Vinny Chilorzo sent some Russian River beers in as well. There was fresh Pliny the Elder there too, but oh well.
What was it? The toe sucker? That Jack and
that's Jack. That's the one that I made. That's
that was yours.
That's Jack and Don's recipe that Andy and I we misinterpreted. I was getting ingredient like the grain bill and such, and so I assumed one thing. I assumed that it was going to be like 10% alcohol, and we overshot it, and it was more like 12%. And turns out the original beer was more like 7 or 8%. So it was even more strong than the legendary barley wine.
Well, that was the one I did have, and it was tasty. But that was the only beer I could have that day. So I started off strong.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, there you go. So I would assume that sticking with kind of at least at first, the sort of base styles helps you kind of ease into this territory as well, into the kind of newly acquired by the beer folks territory. So do you see people who are, Bud and Bud Light drinkers coming in and kind of getting their palates wet or their feet wet in craft beer here?
Yes. Actually, it's part of the original, we had to write a mission statement when we did our business plan. And that's kind of incorporated in it. We knew the market we were in, and we knew the challenges that were ahead of us. We've got a lot of people who love craft beer, but there's so many more who still, they can get a 30-pack of Bud Light, and that's what they've been drinking, and why change now? I mean, it's fine. It's the beer of the NFL, as we were reminded of last night.
That's right.
But I've been really impressed. We have gotten, especially with our Belgian wit beer, it's our West Fork wit. That one has been a great gateway beer, so to speak. And our Slingshot Amber, we originally thought and had positioned to be our flagship beer. We thought that's a great craft beer for people to get their feet wet with. It's non-assuming. It's very drinkable, and it's not your average really light wheat beer or craft lager. So it's just something different. But I'm amazed. I mean, I shouldn't be too amazed since IPA is the very best. It's like the darling of the craft beer world right now. But we sell so much of the IPA, which we just thought we were going to have to make for the craft beer drinkers, and we wouldn't sell as much of it. But it's by far our best seller, and I'm impressed with the women of Bentonville who are just jumping right on the porter bus, because usually it's, I want your lightest thing. But I tell them there's a difference between light in color and light in flavor, and here, try some of these things and just don't even look at it. And we've got a couple who are just now like, give me that stout, give me that porter. So it's been really cool to see that, especially for me, because I'm in here a lot, and we have a large, a lot of our customers are men, but we do have some hardcore craft beer drinking women who come in, and ones that we've turned into hardcore craft beer drinking women.
I blame the coffee IPA.
That does help.
Can I try the wit?
Absolutely.
I swear I'm not here just for the free beer.
That's what y'all say.
But talk about the wit, Beau.
Well, this one, as you can notice, it's not. Might look at it and say, "Where's the wit?" Because we accidentally put some clarifier on. So it's not. I'm not very proud of that one. The flavor's still there, but the color, the cloudiness that you would think of with the wit is gone. Unfortunately, it's sad. But
it's too perfect.
You can see right through it.
But it's almost gone. But it's just standard wit, some coriander, some sweet orange peel in there, and lots of white wheat malt and raw white wheat, and actually put some golden naked oats in there. And kind of, a lot of people thinks it has ginger in it, which I think that might be putting some ginger flavors in there.
Huh.
I don't really get the ginger so much, but then again, it might be some of that Belgian wheat yeast bringing out some of those strange flavors as well. So.
Or maybe the coriander that they're tasting. That's nice. It's very nice.
But there is no ginger in it.
Promise.
No, I think Apple Blossom's got the ginger covered.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
No, it's very nice. I could see where that would be a nice entry level beer. It is delicious, but it's less challenging than if you're not used to porters or IPAs or such.
It's tame for sure.
No, but it's delicious. So how long have you guys been in business?
We opened up our tap room on June 5th last summer, so we're getting excited for this summer because we can say we've been open a year. It's already been nice saying we opened last year instead of this year. But so the tap room hasn't been open too long, but Beau got started brewing a good bit before that because we had to get 2 separate permits, one for each side, so we were cleared to go on the back end, which gave us some much needed time to build up our recipes and get a nice stockpile of beer, because from all the feedback we heard from Andy at Ozark and all the different folks around who paved the way for everyone else, was there's just a problem keeping up with demand. I mean, people are hungry for this kind of a thing in the area, and it's been denied to them for so long. So thankfully, we did have that head start on the back end, which I'm not exactly sure which month you started on, but you got several months ahead of the front side.
Yeah, it was like the tail end of April that we started brewing back here.
So what has been the biggest challenge? If you could speak to homebrewers out there who are also thinking about making the leap, what did you find to be either the biggest challenge or the most unexpected challenge?
On the brewing side, it was acquiring hops, and yeah, that's still a challenge right now. We're trying to get we just did get our hop contracts in, but of course we're not getting a lot of what we want. We've been doing spot hop orders for since we opened, and that's been rough. And now I'm hearing that grains might start getting hard to get as well. So I'm sweating about that one a little bit. But that sourcing some of these things has been kind of a curveball that was unforeseen.
And I guess, have you been able to get advice or help from the more established, been there like a year, longer than you, but the other...
As old as us.
We have, they've given us different resources to, try to get hops, and mainly like getting it directly from other breweries. There's a site you can go to, I can't remember what it's called, where you can trade or buy their surplus. And then we were able to actually purchase some Amarillo hops the other day from Anthem Brewing Company over in Oklahoma City. we were down there buying a bottler, and we were like, hey, by the way. So that was awesome. Now, so due to that, we'll have a double IPA coming up soon.
Ooh, nice.
But unfortunately, that's a good example. The Amarillo hops, which I guess is one of the most sought after hops. Pretty much, I'm on the waiting list as far as contracts go for this year's crop and the next 2 years after this year's crop. There's no foreseeable room on Amarillo hop contracts.
Wow.
So that's if you're going to get in this business, start
growing hops.
Or start using hops that nobody else is using, because that's been a rough one.
Well, that's what Jack says. That's how he came up with his American Pale Ale. Was he was nobody wanted Cascades because they were brand new, so he was getting like 200-pound, a 200-pound bale of Cascade hops, and that's what he used for his pale ale. So voila, the American Pale Ale. So who knows?
Maybe that's why it's so popular now.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe you'll come up with something that is unique to this area or unique to you. That sometimes accidents are good. Mm-hmm. So you mentioned a bottler. Are you going to get into retail packaging?
Just small time. We're planning on just doing some bombers and selling some out of the tap room here. We just got word that it's quite a long process as far as getting labeling and all approved by what TTB or?
Yeah, in Arkansas, you have to get your labeling approved by the TTB before even submitting it to the ABC. So you got to go twice, but unfortunately, there's not many other things that the ABC requires that the TTB does not. So I imagine once you go through one, the next part, it's very likely you'll be approved as long as you don't have something crazy on there. So maybe
like the word naked, yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to have to respell that word.
But it could take a couple of months, and we'd like to sell at least bombers out of here, and then there's a couple places around here that would like to serve our beer, but they don't have draft. So we'd get some bottles to them, and then have I think a couple hotels want to supply it to their patrons as well.
Cool. Well, very nice. I'm impressed with the beers, and I'm impressed with the establishments. It's really a cool location. So I appreciate you guys being hosts, and I appreciate you spending time.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming and drinking beer with us.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Anytime.
Any excuse to get started now. It's great.
Thanks again to Katie and Beau. That was a lot of fun. Tasty beers, especially that coffee IPA. Not what I expected. It's a nice surprise and a departure from the traditional coffee beers that you usually run into. I look forward to my next visit. In the back there, they were making a red ale, so that sounds tasty as well. Don't forget to send me your favorite moments from Basic Brewing Radio over the years. I'm putting together a compilation show for next month so when we're on the way to New Zealand. So I appreciate everybody who's done so already. A couple of you reminded me things that I'd forgotten about, frankly. And I'm going to go back to the archives, and I look forward to listening to those again. If you have brewing questions, show suggestions, or just want to say howdy, write to james@basicbrewing.com, or just fill out the contact form on basicbrewing.com. And please don't forget to tell us where you're from. You can check out our support link where you can throw a couple of bucks into the tip jar by subscribing financially to our podcasts. Be sure to check out our DVDs, Extract Brewing and Partial Mashing, Stepping into All Grain, Low-Tech Lagering and Decoction Mashing, and Introduction to Wine Kits. You can find them all on our site. You can get a free Basic Brewing bottle opener with any of our DVD combos. You can check out our Basic Brewing shirts in the store as well. And our logbooks are there too, where you can track and log up to 50 batches of beer, or lack and trog if you want to. You can see a listing of the fine folks across the country who sell our DVDs on basicbrewing.com, and if there isn't a vendor in your area, you can order them online in our online shop at basicbrewingshop.com. Thanks to everybody who's continued to click on our Amazon.com link. We appreciate the support there. Featured products this week that were purchased through the link are Leather Squeeze Coin Pouch Coin Purse by Marshall. That's a cool looking thing. And Lady Pancake and Sir French Toast. Thanks again. And remember, I can't tell who bought what, so no worries there. Just click on the Amazon.com logo on our site the next time you feel like Amazon shopping. We greatly appreciate your support. Lots of pricey stuff being purchased this week, laptops and such. Appreciate it very much. And we appreciate the small, fun stuff as well. It all adds up. You'd be surprised. I'm just going on. And don't forget, you can also join the American Homebrewers Association and subscribe to Brew Your Own magazine through the associate links on basicbrewing.com. That's all until next time. Until then, thanks for listening, everybody. I'm James Spencer. Production help for Basic Brewing Radio and our website is provided by Kelly Dotson. Basic Brewing Radio is a production of Active Voicing. I'll talk to you next time, everybody. Don't forget to write if you get work, and don't forget to hang by your thumbs. So long.